As we look ahead to marking Autism Acceptance Month, acknowledging there is so much more work to be done to support families and individuals living with autism. According to the CDC, 1 in 36 children have been identified with autism spectrum disorder, and the nonprofit KultureCity has been working hard to increase inclusivity and awareness, and now the organization is developing a park in Birmingham, Alabama, specifically for people with sensory needs or disabilities. So joining me right now here is Dr. Michelle Kong, co-founder of KultureCity, and Tony and Emmy nominated, yeah, you recognize him as Hamilton's original George Washington, actor and autism advocate Chris Jackson. It is so great to have you both here at ABC News.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
absolutely. And this is such an important topic because so many people are talking about this. You've partnered, Dr. Kong, with so many different venues and even stadiums.
Yes.
Why is this so important to you?
You know, because if you think about the 1 in 34 that you just mentioned, if you think about even more broadly, it's 1 in 4 that will have a sensory need. And so they go to stadiums, they go to restaurants, they go to hospitals. It impacts every aspect of our life. And so that's why it's so important that we make our everyday environment accessible to everyone, that they feel safe.
And just so the audience understands, when you say 1 in 4 sensory needs, what do you mean?
So 1 in 4 will have a sensory barrier, whether you're autistic, whether you have PTSD, whether you have dementia or stroke. The commonality amongst all these individuals is that coming into an environment can be very difficult if it's too loud, too bright, and people don't understand how you communicate or how you engage with your environment.
And Chris, your son was actually diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. How have you seen spaces like the ones that KultureCity are providing really help you out as a parent?
Well, when you get a diagnosis, it has this way, because you're focused on helping your child, learning as much as you can and as quickly as you can. It has a way of making your issues invisible. Mm-hmm. It has a way of isolating you as a parent, just as a person, and being able to relate to the world. And then you stop seeing, hey, this is a stadium we go see our favorite team at, but now my child has issues with being around large crowds and doesn't quite know how to regulate themselves. All of this input from a world that is just not paying attention in the same way. We're focused on the game, we're focused on the concert, on the show. And so what KultureCity does is it helps make people aware. It puts advocates at every exit, at every concession stand. It allows us as parents to engage and not be on the lookout necessarily for what things could be problematic. And it allows us to engage with the world in the way that neurotypical people get to do without thinking about it.
Did you know when you got this diagnosis, your son got this diagnosis, did you know you needed a place like this?
I had no idea what I didn't know. And that's what happens for so many parents and so many family members. You don't know what you don't know. It takes time to learn what the specific needs are, and then you have to learn how to manage them for the individual. And so the process never really stops. You're always learning, you're always trying to adapt, and you're always trying to make just see the world as an accessible place, and that's what KultureCity does.
It's so striking to me that we don't talk about this enough, and yet the data shows that there are so many people living with this right now, right? Dr. Kong, I've been to Birmingham. It is a gorgeous place, amazing people. Why did you choose Birmingham for the park?
I think Birmingham chose us in some ways. We were recruited there for medical school and stayed there. I think Birmingham, was at once forefront of the civil rights movement, and now with KultureCity being there, with an incredible board like Chris across the world and even here, we're now at the forefront of accessibility. And it seemed like just a perfect place. This place will really be an anchor, I think, for all individuals with disability. Just as you mentioned, where it's a place where you don't have to think about it. You really do belong there. You can come. It will tell the story of individuals who have moved the needle for disability, and be an inspiration, and for kids and adults who get a diagnosis to aspire to something, see possibilities. If you don't see, you don't know. Yeah. But now you can.
Oh, and how do we learn more so the audience can find out more about KultureCity?
Go to KultureCity.org, spelled with a K.